Former All Blacks center Ngani Laumape has come out strongly in defense of Ardie Savea, criticizing the wave of backlash directed at the star back rower in the aftermath of Scott Robertson's departure as New Zealand head coach. In the weeks since Robertson was removed from his position, attention has increasingly turned towards senior members of the All Black squad, particularly those understood to have been involved in a comprehensive internal review of the team environment. Among the names most prominently linked to dissatisfaction within the camp has been Savea, the 2023 World Rugby Player of the Year and one of the most respected figures in New Zealand rugby. Savea has yet to publicly address the reports. Currently on sabbatical in Japan with the Kobelco Kobe Steelers, the 30-year-old has remained silent while speculation continues to swirl. But while he has not spoken out, others have stepped forward to support him. None more forcefully than his longtime teammate and friend, Ngani Laumape. A controversy that refuses to fade Robertson's exit shocked the rugby world. The former Crusaders mastermind had taken charge of the All Blacks amid high expectations, having built one of the most dominant dynasties in Super Rugby history. Yet his tenure at Test level proved more turbulent than many anticipated. Results were inconsistent, and reports of internal tensions began to surface. Ultimately, a detailed player review, believed to have been frank and, at times, critical, played a significant role in New Zealand rugby's decision to make a change. Within that context, Savea's name emerged as one of the central voices in the review process. It was reported that he had been particularly unhappy with aspects of the regime and that he may have considered leaving New Zealand permanently had changes not been made. The narrative quickly escalated. Instead of focusing on collective feedback or systemic issues, much of the public discourse zeroed in on Savea as a supposed driving force behind Robertson's removal. For Laumape, that portrayal is deeply unfair. Brotherhood and loyalty. Speaking from his current base at Moana Pasifika, Laumape was asked about Savea and the impact of his absence this season. Initially, the powerful midfielder responded with humor. "Who's that? Sorry? Who's that guy?" he joked, lightening the tone before turning serious. Behind the humor lies a long-standing bond. Laumape and Savea shared the field for the Hurricanes and the All Blacks, forging a close relationship through years of provincial and international competition. Both players have been central figures in representing Pacific excellence within New Zealand rugby, leaders not only on the field but within their communities. Laumape was quick to highlight Savea's broader influence. "I don't think anyone can fill those shoes," he said, referring to Savea's absence from Moana Pasifika this season. "But I think for me, what he did last season not only inspired the young Pacific kids, but also inspired a whole generation of old and young." Savea's impact, Laumape suggests, transcends statistics or accolades. His leadership, humility, and visibility have resonated deeply within Pacific communities, where representation at the highest levels of sport carries powerful meaning. "I just want to credit my brother for being the leader that he is," Laumape continued. "I've been seeing that he's been getting a lot of backlash in the media, but for me, he's the man." Frustration at the scapegoat narrative as the conversation turned more directly to the criticism surrounding Savea's alleged role in the internal review, Laumape's tone sharpened. When asked whether it had annoyed him that Savea appeared to have been singled out, his response was immediate. "Yeah, for sure." Laumape did not deny that Savea was part of the review process. Instead, he questioned why one name had been isolated from what was meant to be a collective and confidential exercise. "There were more people that were in those meetings, and it's pretty bullcrap that only his name was out there," he said candidly. His frustration centers on the principle of fairness. "I know there's probably about 10 players in that leadership group who were also in that review. If one name comes out, then I feel like all of them should come out." The implication is clear. Savea has been made a convenient focal point for public anger and media speculation, while others involved in the same discussions have remained anonymous. The sanctity of a private review, perhaps the most troubling aspect for Laumape, is the breach of confidentiality. "It's supposed to be a private review," he stressed. "And it's crazy how Ard's name just comes out of that review." In elite sport, internal reviews are common following significant campaigns or transitional periods. They're designed to foster honesty, reflection, and growth. Players are encouraged to speak openly about standards, leadership, preparation, and environment. precisely because such conversations are intended to remain within the walls of the organization. If individuals fear public exposure for candid feedback, the integrity of those processes can be compromised. Laumape's defense of Savea is rooted not only in loyalty, but in concern over the precedent such leaks may set. The perception that Savea was instrumental in Robertson's removal has, in some quarters, cast him as a destabilizing figure, a narrative Laumape rejects entirely. That Savea's leadership credentials few players in World Rugby command the respect that Savea does, a relentless competitor with a tireless work rate. He has been the heartbeat of the All Blacks for several seasons. His performances during the 2023 Rugby World Cup cycle cemented his reputation as one of the sport's premier loose forwards, culminating in his recognition as World Rugby Player of the Year. Beyond his athletic excellence, Savea has often been described as a unifying presence within the squad, someone who leads through example and emotional intelligence. For Laumape, the suggestion that such a figure would act selfishly or irresponsibly is inconceivable. Like I said, he's the man, he reiterated, and I'm sure he's enjoying his time at Kobe Steelers. Savea's current sabbatical in Japan provides him with distance from the controversy. The Kobelco Kobe Steelers offer a different environment, one focused on performance rather than narrative. Yet his absence from New Zealand rugby has not quietened the debate. Standing United Laumape also made it clear that Savea retains strong support within the playing fraternity. No matter what, myself and the Moana boys have got his back, he said. That solidarity speaks volumes. Moana Pasifika, a franchise built around Pacific identity and pride, has leaned heavily on leaders like Savea to inspire its mission. His return to the club is anticipated not just for his on-field impact, but for the cultural influence he carries. He will come back a better player, Laumape predicted. And we're looking forward to him coming back and putting on that Moana jersey. The message is one of confidence and continuity. Whatever turbulence surrounds the All Blacks environment, Savea's standing among his peers remains intact. A broader reflection on leadership. The episode also invites reflection on how leadership is perceived in high-performance sport. Strong leaders are often those willing to speak uncomfortable truths in review settings that may involve critiquing systems, communication, or culture. If those contributions are later framed as dissent or rebellion, it risks discouraging honesty. Laumape's defense suggests that Savea's involvement in the review was part of his responsibility as a senior player, not an act of insubordination. The narrative of a scapegoat can be seductive, particularly when a high-profile coach departs unexpectedly. But rugby, like most team sports, is shaped by collective dynamics rather than singular actors. Waiting for Savea's voice as speculation continues. One key voice remains unheard, Savea's own. Whether he chooses to address the controversy upon returning from Japan remains to be seen. For now, his silence may reflect a desire to avoid inflaming tensions or detracting from his current commitments. In his absence, teammates like Laumape have stepped forward to ensure his character and leadership are not defined solely by external commentary. Looking ahead, New Zealand rugby is entering a new chapter following Robertson's exit. The next head coach will inherit a squad rich in talent, but navigating a period of introspection. For players such as Savea, the focus will inevitably return to performance, to leading through action rather than headlines. Laumape's closing words encapsulate the sentiment shared by many within the rugby community. Loyalty, belief, and anticipation. Savea, he insists, will return stronger. And when he does, those who know him best expect him to once again let his rugby, not the rumors,